What is up, everybody? I hope you can see me okay. Can everybody see me? I know you can see me okay. Can you hear me okay? That's going to be the most important part. Can you hear me all right? Let's make sure that you can hear me. And once I start seeing some of that activity, letting me know that you guys can hear me, let's begin the pre-show. I hope you guys are having a good time, and I hope I'm not talking to myself. Thank you, Electric Vibe. I appreciate that. Listen, man, what a night we have tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Special guest tonight, one of the OGs of the Minneapolis sound, Andre Cymone, will be joining me tonight. We're going to be sharing stories and just having a lot of fun. Obviously, if you have some questions for Andre, please go ahead and start putting them in the chat room, and I will star them and put them in the tab so that you guys can, so I can make sure that and again, I'm alone tonight, because Michael Bland is out again this week in rehearsal for Soul Asylum's acoustic show that is happening tomorrow night, August 5th, in Minneapolis at the Dakota. They're going to be playing with Ivan Neville and the Laurel String Quartet. String. I saw the word quartet coming up and I merged the words. But again, that's Soul Asylum, an acoustic show at the Dakota tomorrow night. And that's where Michael Bland is tonight, is there in rehearsal, because the show's tomorrow. Obviously, depending on when you hear or watch this again, it's August 5th, 2026. So if you're listening to this beyond that, there you go. But we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Just talking to the one and only Andre Cymone. Man, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, I know that people are wanting me to talk a little bit about David Rivkin, aka David Z's passing, but we're gonna talk a little bit more about that later, because I know that Andre will want to contribute to that conversation. So for now, we're just gonna hold on to that topic. Rest in peace. For those that don't know, David Rivkin, aka David Z, Bobby Z's brother, passed away on Sunday night due to complications from an infection, and it was pretty devastating. So that's as far as I'm going to get into that right now, because again, I want to wait until Andre joins us, because I'm sure that he'll have a little bit of insight, because they were very, very close. So he'll want to say a little bit of something. Man, let me just say, there is a new giveaway that is happening with Patreon. And let me just say, it's really, really cool. If you're a Patreon supporter, for those that don't know, you can support Funkatopia right here, Funkatopia, at patreon.com/Funkatopia. I'll put the scroll up on there. You can go to just patreon.com/Funkatopia and help support us here, because we have a radio station that is ASCAP licensed and global music rights licensed. So it's a very, very hefty bill. And it's one of these things that we got to do. So in order to kind of keep that running, we would appreciate your support. Obviously, even StreamYard, even this right here, we have one of the higher up accounts, and it's like almost $100 a month. It's just a lot of expenses that are coming in. So these Patreon supporters, you supporters that are out there, thank you so, so much for helping to keep Funkatopia on the air. And I'm looking forward to it. And one of the things that I decided to do, not only I shared some more video clips from the Prince celebration, this time from that jam session that happened on June 4th. Oh my gosh, Liv Warfield and Tamar and Sonny Thompson, Sonny T. It was just crazy. Queen Cora, just a lot of jam sessions. I just gave that to the Patreon supporters. Some of the clips and whatnot that I had that were pretty friggin' awesome. And one of the things I did is that every month now I'm going to do a giveaway. And this month's giveaway, last month was congratulations to Rico Curry, because last month was Steve Park's 2 books, his brand new coffee table book, Prince Black, White, Color. Yeah, that's what it is. And also the collector's Emancipation book, Words and Pictures. So that Rico Curry won that last week. And this month we'll be doing the drawing. I think it's going to be on the 25th. Yes, August 25th. We'll be doing a drawing Tuesday, August 25th. We're going to be doing a drawing for 2 more gifts. And that is this collectible 45. Collectible 45 Prince, Welcome to America And also on the back, it also has not only Welcome to America, but on the flip side, it has the live version of Welcome to America that's interpolated with Dreamer, and it is a funk masterpiece. And that's not all. We also have the Prince piano and a microphone box set is going to be given to Patreon supporters. Doesn't matter what level you are on Patreon to be a part of that drawing that we're going to be doing on the 25th. Just join. Not only will you get access to all the cool stuff that's already been there, that's available right now for whatever level that you sign up for, but on top of that, you also get entered into the drawing automatically. Obviously, the higher level up that you go, the more entries that you get into the drawing, but that's part of the fun. And you also get the access to the radio station, to the Funked Up radio station. Download the Funked Up app. You can go to the Google Play Store or Apple Store and get the Funked Up app. It's a 24/7 funk radio station. And on top of that, just a lot of great stuff. So join patreon.com/Funkatopia. Again, tonight, we welcome the one, the only Andre Cymone. We'll be bringing him in just a little bit. That starts at the 8 o'clock hour, which is 6 minutes from right now. You are listening to the pre-show. I want to talk a little bit about the news here for a second. I'm going to try my best to kind of pay attention to what is going on here as far as the chat room is concerned, trying to keep tabs on all the questions that you guys may have. Yeah, we may have to do that. There's a bunch of things that we're going to be doing. Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Brian Crenshaw. Thank you for exposing us to the psychedelics. Let me just tell you, I am just for those that don't know, every now and then we do sound stages, which are just showcasing brand new artists that are out there. And there's this band called the Psychedelics, PSYCO Delics, DELICS, out of South Carolina, I think. They're out of Charleston, and they are just phenomenal. I can't. It's just unbelievable. They're so friggin' good. It's funny because they're right from the next door state for me. I'm here outside of Atlanta, and the closest that are coming is Birmingham at the end of October, I think, or the middle of October. So I'm going to make that trip. I'm going to go make that drive because, man, those guys are great. And you'll be able to say, hey, I saw them when. I'm just telling you, I'm just giving you an idea. Also, let's kind of talk a little bit about this news that I think is pretty important. Maybe some people do, some people don't. But let me just say, I think this is important. Okay. Prince's Purple Rain musical, all right, now includes, as part of the mix, Lin-Manuel Miranda and his father, Louis. I don't know how you pronounce his father's name, at the helm as co-producers. Louis said via Instagram, Lin-Manuel and I enjoyed working so much with Oren Wolf on Buena Vista Social Club that through our company, Viejas Miranda, we are joining his team in producing Prince's Purple Rain on Broadway. Louis shared in an Instagram post, Prince gave the world one of the greatest albums ever made, and now that story takes the stage. We can't wait for you to see it. Okay, first off, this is friggin' huge news if you have not been paying attention. This is so big. I am totally just shocked that none of the official channels are talking about this in the Prince camp. I don't understand it. This is huge. This is not just, oh yeah, that's happening. This is huge. For those that aren't connected to the Broadway musical world, and I'm not, but I'm also not deaf, and I also live in a very, very big world that tends to communicate a little bit of everything. But if you've never heard the name Lin-Manuel Miranda, he wrote for like a lot of the music and films for like Moana and Encanto, and on Broadway he did In the Heights, which was made into a movie, Bring It On the musical, and oh, maybe you heard of this little minor play called Hamilton. That guy. They are now attached to the Prince Purple Rain Broadway show. So this stage adaptation of Purple Rain features music by Prince, direction by Tony-nominated director Sahim Ali from Buena Vista Social Club, playwright and screenwriter Peter Duchan from Dogfight, or maybe it's Duchan, Duchan, a music team led by Tony Award winner Jason Michael Webb, who did MJ the musical, And of course, Bobby Z and Morris Hayes, part of the Prince camp. Plus choreography from Emmy Award winner Ebony Williams, who did Sneakerella and also did choreography on the Renaissance World Tour. And now Lin-Manuel and his father are involved. So here we are. The play is set to arrive on Broadway next spring at the Majestic Theater. I've actually seen a play at the Majestic Theater, believe it or not. Beginning previews on Friday, March 12th, 2027, and officially opening on Monday, April 12th, 2027. That is less than a year from right now, and no announcements by the official Prince. I don't get it. I don't get it. What am I missing? This is huge. This right here is huge for the Prince estate. And this is not something that was announced this morning. This news has been out there for what, 3 or 4 days now? And no mention of it at all. Respect to Paisley Park for mentioning the passing of David Z. Thank you so much for that, Paisley Park. That I thought that was very thank you. But this is huge news for the Prince estate. So huge. And I don't understand why there is radio silence on this. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's big. That's friggin' big. Huge. Hoogie. It's unreal. I don't get it. But anyways, so there's that. And I'm a little bit frustrated about the silence. I'm kind of just, maybe they are doing something, but you have to communicate. You have to get the word out. We had this discussion about transparency, and you're still very, very opaque. This should be everywhere. This is huge news. Hamilton, when you think of the greatest Broadway plays that have hit Broadway in the last 20 years, guaranteed Hamilton will be right at the top of that list. I'm not a big Broadway person, but but when a new Broadway play comes on that is such a smash hit that becomes literally a sensation, is unreal. It's unreal. You don't hear that a lot because there's not a bunch of great Broadway plays. There's some fantastic ones out there, but none that gain the notoriety and the phenom that was Hamilton. And now you've got the writer of Hamilton as part of the Prince Purple Rain musical, and you got nothing to say? Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, we got Timeless. Also, Prince's album Timeless is coming this month on August 28th. And I've seen some new merch. I've seen some new merch come out, but kind of little to no momentum built for it outside of that new merch. No new singles. I'm just kind of at a loss. I'm at a loss. And while we're still waiting for Andre Cymone to join us here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that I'm going to be doing as well as part of this. And if I stopped abruptly and go into it, it's because Andre is joining the group. So once he gets into the green room, we'll take it from there. I got to make sure that there's no messages or whatnot because okay. So once they join, he's going to be coming in here any minute. But one of the things I want to say as regards to, how I get so flustered with the whole Prince stuff. I'm sorry. I got a message from Andre. So he's on the way. I pride myself on being probably one of the very, very few podcasts that regularly talks about Prince related items. And of course, having NPG drumming legend Michael Bland as a co-host on the show certainly has its merits because it gives you guys a place to kind of be able to get news and information from people that have actually been there. Not myself, but Michael Bland. And we kind of just follow the leads and whatnot. So all that being said, looking forward to being able to do whatever I can to help get the word out. But, I'm just one small podcast in a very, very, very big world. And on top of that, I am in the process of building a website right now that I can't divulge what it is, but it's close. My goal is to have it done before the end of August. Many of you know, for been old OG Funkatopians, know that I have done an album chat for every single album of Prince's, minus a few handful of albums, just because they were either like Bria Valentes. I don't think I did one for none of the instrumentals like News or C Note, just because of the fact there's not a whole bunch of stories that kind of help to fill that out and make it an album chat that is, going to be worth listening to or be enjoyable or entertaining, because there's not a whole bunch to say if you just got Prince sitting at a piano just kind of playing. I mean, other than talking about the individual songs, but most of these stuff we don't have background stories to. So I started building that Prince album chat site, and the problem is that all the album chats have the actual music in them, and I need to remove them because we're still going to have the album chat. You'll still have the capability to kind of be able to play the album along on the side, but got a bunch of technology, a bunch of things that I'm doing with AI, not images, not making fake videos, not infringing on anybody's trademark, just utilizing AI just for the scripting and the website development and things like that, which is just unbelievable because it's helping me get to my goal a lot quicker of getting this album chat website out to you. And we're going to have, it's going to be great. It's going to be a good resource for all things related to the Prince's discography without treading on any trademark or copyright or IP or any of that stuff. So that's kind of been a little bit tricky. But the website that I'm working on that will probably be done before the end of August is another website that is focused on local musicians and artists. And it's pretty fantastic, actually. So, for instance, one of the things for those that don't know, I used to run a website many years ago, back in the 90s and into the early 2000s, called slabmusic.com. That's SLAB music.com. And that stood for Southern Local Area Bands. And slabmusic.com, it was a very, very major site. It supported local artists and musicians and bands and just kind of let them tell people about the shows, link to their websites. I held music festivals, in particular the music festivals with a bunch of artists. Just so many people came through the whole scenario. I mean, members of, it's just been pretty amazing. It's been pretty amazing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because I've got a really, really awesome website that is coming up that is going to allow local bands and local artists to be able to come on. And if they're touring, if they happen to be out touring, let's just say you're a local band out of Atlanta and you're planning on going over and touring in San Francisco, you can go onto this website and you can put in your dates for San Francisco, and it will actually show you all the newspapers and college radio stations and all the places that you can go and promote your band, promote your shows. And you as a listener can actually go in and look at the show calendar, sort by genre, and that will include not only an RSS feed from Ticketmaster so you can see all the major shows, but also integrated into that will also be all the local shows. So local bands and artists and regional acts like the Psychedelics. And you can find out more information about where to go, where to buy tickets. And also, if you're in a band and you need a bass player, you can actually go onto the system and find a bass player. Or if you're a bass player and looking for a band, it is going to be a hub for all things music, all for local and regional musicians. All things is going to be in that mix. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. I've been working on it for a very, very long time. And again, I've had a lot more progress now that I've been able to utilize AI in that way for the website development side of things. And it's kind of been pushing it along, but you guys are going to love it. Music news is going to be there. Buying tickets to concerts is going to be there. Everything is going to be in there. You can be able to buy gear. It's crazy. It's going to be nuts. So it is going to be a lot of fun. All right. You guys want me to, what's the question? The question from, what's that medallion behind you? Do I have a medallion behind me somewhere? I don't see a medallion anywhere. Oh, this thing? It's just an in the studio sign. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I don't know. All right. You guys ready for Andre? Okay. Well, he is in the green room, or the backstage area, as we call it. So I'm going to bring him in. All right. So let me do a little bit of an introduction first. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get to the show. Before there was a Minneapolis Sound, there was a basement on Fifth Avenue North where teenage Andre Cymone and teenage Prince woodshedded together, creating music. And I mean, think of all the things that came out of Minneapolis, like Grand Central. I mean, you can't deny it. Andre was the bassist and one of the true architects of the Minneapolis Sound that would eventually take over the world. But what's good about our guest, Andre, is that he didn't stop there. He built his own catalog, solo albums, hits for Jody Watley, production work that pretty much shaped the 80s. And he's never stopped chasing that muse, whether that meant rock records like The Stone or 1969. And now, right now, in August, coming up in a mere 10 days, got a release of his brand new album, The Resurrection of Funk. Every instrument played by his own hands, no AI, no shortcuts. Funk is proof of life. It's the reclamation of the sound that he helped to invent. So hold on to your cakes and snakes, because tonight's going to be funky. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Andre Cymone's in the house.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you, brother? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Let me just say, I want to take just a second, because I got an opportunity to listen to the entire album today, which unfortunately for all you fine folks is not going to be available for another 10 days. But let me just say, go ahead and head to funkatopia.com/Andre. That will take you directly over to his Bandcamp page where you can pre-order this album. You want to purchase this album. And you guys know that I don't like to speak in hyperbole. If I don't like something, I'll be courteous. I'll talk with you, but I'm not going to pump it like I'm pumping this album here. This album is friggin' fire. It is funk. I mean, funk from top to bottom. There's a couple slow jams in there, but it's fine. This album was really, really good, Andre. Hats off, man. This was a fantastic album. I can't wait for you guys to be able to hear this thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a fun album to make. I had so much fun making it. I really did. Yeah.
So I want to start with that, but actually, before we start getting into this and talking about this just for a moment, this is kind of really weird. I really do not want to start our time together this evening in this way, but it's a little unavoidable, because sometimes life happens, and you have things that occur that are truly devastating that happens that kind of changes the script a little. And for those that don't know, the one and only Sunday evening, we lost the incomparable David Rivkin, aka David Z.
Yeah.
He was one of the true architects of the Minneapolis Sound. I mean, from the way that things sounded, how instruments were leveled out, that kind of helped to define that Minneapolis sound. I saw a quote from Owen Husney in the Star Tribune that said, from the very moment that Prince, at the age of 18, met David, he flat out said, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, David is the only one I want touching my music. Yeah. David was the one who sat outside First Avenue in that truck, that sound truck, recording Prince and the Revolution's performance that birthed those live tracks from the Purple Rain soundtrack, not to mention his work on Under the Cherry Moon. I mean, he touched many songs of Prince's, and he also produced a bunch of great tracks like Fine Young Cannibals, She Drives Me Crazy, Funky Town, yep. Worked with Etta James, Billy Idol, Al Green, just so many. But I know that it had a major effect on you. So I didn't know if you wanted to speak a little bit on it publicly, since it's kind of fresh right here out of the gate.
Oh, I would love to. I mean, only because, it's as sad as it is, and it's sad and it's tragic. But David was such an upbeat, funny kind of personality. It's as much as you don't ever want anybody like that to ever go. Because I would still reach out to him from time to time, and just pick his brain about different things. But he was he brought so much energy, so much attitude and so much spirit to what we were doing in the beginning. I mean, because we made Prince's first record, he was right there. I mean, we lived together, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
But, him and his wife, Owen and his wife, and me and Prince, we were like a big family. And David was part of that. And David, he had so many different things that he brought to the music, and to, the attitude and for me and Prince, because we thought we knew everything about anything already. He let us know, he showed us, no, you don't know everything about it. Because every day we learned something new from David. So it's hard to even explain. I mean, and then obviously, the stuff that he did on the records, on Prince's records, on my record, on Jody's record, on, obviously, like you said, the Fine Young Cannibals, and the list goes on and on. David, his mark on the sound of Minneapolis, the sound of the music, is just indelible, and it just, it'll live on forever. So it's just a reality.
Yeah, it's just so sad to see him. So sad to see him go, man. I mean, we're all kind of getting to that stage of life. It's like the more all the people that we actually know and are good friends. It's like you get to that age, and it's like as soon as you pass 50, 55, it's like you start seeing it, and it's just like,
yeah,
okay.
You gotta get the things done that you want to get done, because nobody, as they say, nobody gets out of here alive. So just have fun, do what you want to do. Get your things done. Check all the boxes, what they call a bucket list. Get your bucket list together and start checking them off, because, and then save yourself plenty of time to just have fun, because, it is what it is, life is life.
Yeah, my apology. Can you see the chat area, Andre, on the right-hand side of your screen here?
I can.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because there's a lot of people saying hello and welcome, and
Yeah, maybe I don't, because I don't have my computer. We had as usual, as you can figure, always whenever something like this goes on, there's always a bug that happens, and something got on our internet.
Okay.
So I'm doing it from my phone. And so it's a limited kind of whatever, because normally my computer is.
And you got a bright sun coming from your left over there too. So, but it's fine.
Maybe I can fix that a little bit. How's that?
Oh, there you go. Perfect. There you go. Perfect. Yeah. So since you can't really see that, I'm gonna make sure that I put up some of these hellos. Yeah, but again, rest in peace to David Z. Prayers out to the Rivkin family and whatnot, because they are. I know it's just a horrible loss for everybody up there in Minneapolis. There were so many people that were so close to him, man. Yeah. But all right, let's get to it, shall we? Man, this is coming. Is this the official album cover that's going to be hitting?
It is. That's the album cover. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw some of the photos sessions with all the red that we have in our background here, I thought, oh, is the album cover going to change? Because that's like a really, really stark look. But man, this is a really, really cool album cover. Tell me a little bit about this cover. This is an album that's coming, by the way, for those that don't know. It's called The Resurrection of Funk, and it's going to be coming out August 14th. Go ahead.
Let's see, what can I say about it? I mean, Catherine is always involved in so much. She's a visionary. She's got a lot of great ideas, and she's a photographer. So we were just driving around trying to figure out some ideas, and she thought, oh, that's a cool space. We should do something in front of there. And then the idea of having a marquee, and then kind of flipping it, just became sort of the thing. And it's interesting, because on our way, to do the photo session, we were driving, and I was listening, I had songs playing, and then AUT-O-Matic came on in my phone. I started singing it. And of course, Catherine was always on it, so she filmed it. And she got a clip of me singing AUT-O-Matic, which is one of my favorite Prince songs.
It's a great one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and it was fun. But yeah, no, and basically that was it. And then we had a friend of mine really kind of tweaked it out, and had decals on the wheels with spoke wheels, and he really kind of freaked it out. And we thought, let's just keep it kind of classic, and so we kind of went with that. So yeah.
Nice. So it's phenomenal. And again, as I was kind of alluded to before, and I'm gonna switch places over here so that the chat is underneath. Well, I'll just leave the chat underneath you. So yeah, I was really amazed by this album. It is 15 tracks, and basically, you know, I obviously I love all your stuff, and as I mentioned, I can't wait for people to be able to hear this album. Not a weak song anywhere in the mix. And again, for any Funkatopians that are out there who have followed me for years, you know that if I don't like something, I'll just play along, but I won't. So tell me about these tracks on this album. We're getting a little bit of feedback, a little bit of static on your end, Andre.
It's breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, you seem to be frozen up.
Yeah, it's a.
Okay, you're good.
Something.
You're back.
That was a little better. Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
So I'm sorry. You have to ask.
Yeah. So well. Yeah. So the question is, were these songs just sitting in a vault? Because this is the first album in almost 10 years, right? Because 1969 came out in 2017, I think. So this has been almost 10 years. Now, is this like songs that you've been writing over a period of time? Because some of them do still have that OG sound. I'm not saying that you couldn't recreate it, but I mean, were some of these songs in your vault? And some of these songs, how many were written on the spot and all that?
No, they were all fresh. I mean, you know, the thing is that was the whole goal, to the kind of stuff I used to do back when I lived in my mom's house. You know, when we first started, you know, this whole Minneapolis journey. You know, we did, we worked on a lot of different stuff back then. And you know, the beauty is I have a lot of the demo tapes from back in those days, as far as just, you know, what we were trying to do when we were trying to get our own little record deal before we kind of went in different directions. But and so, you know, the cool thing is I have, there's a Grand Central demo tape. There's there's actually a few different Grand Central demo tapes, but there's also a Champagne demo tape. And you know, one of these days I have to put them out, because I think when people hear those, they'll kind of get a different idea.
Yeah, we do.
Of how, you know, who was doing what and how things worked out and the sound and where it actually came from and how it, it's just, you get a clear picture when you hear, you know, something from back then, because it's, you know, you can't deny it. It is what it is, and you hear it back then. But I just wanted to kind of go back there because, you know, I'd done funk for everybody else, but I never really did it for myself, because I was going to do it when I first came out, and then I think I probably shouldn't have said anything to anybody, because then somebody thought, well, let's just see if we can't come out with something before that. But anyway, so I'm doing it now, and I think it's a perfect time to do it right now, because I think music really needs a sort of injection of funk and music and artistry, and you know, I consider myself a musical artist, and part of the Minneapolis sound is to be able to create your own sound, to be able to create your own, the full production of a song, you know, from top to bottom. That was, you know, that's how we created it. It's like, you know, I would create a whole song and I'd play it to Prince or something, and he'd create a whole song, he'd play it to me, and you know, we were in the same house, so it was easy to do, and we'd go back and forth, and we'd critique each other and all that kind of stuff. And
how many of those jam sessions do you have floating around on cassette tapes from back in those days?
Jam sessions are a different thing. Jam sessions, we literally would jam all the time. So that's a whole another thing. I got a nice little chunk of those, but demo tapes is a whole nother thing, because that's sort of after we kind of came through the jam sessions. Because, you know, the thing about the jam sessions that we used to do back then is we would just jam. And if somebody took that jam and finished it, it was their song. You know what I mean? As opposed to, you know, I learned later that, we didn't know anything about publishing. So we didn't know anything about splitting and publishing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just jam on a groove. And if I finished it and I wrote the lyrics to it, it was my song, and if you jammed on something and whatever you came up with, that was a contribution to my song, and
Yeah.
vice versa. And so, but when it becomes a business, it's a little different because, I might jam on something and I'm playing the bass on it, and then somebody writes the lyrics and it becomes a song, then it's their song, and, I mean, so that's why I really never, made a big deal out of, people said, well, I know that's your bass part and that's your this. And it's like, I just, it was just us jamming, and we were in a band, and I really didn't look at it like that. But, that's part of the reason, again, coming back to, this record, I really wanted to make the statement that we were making back then, with this particular record, because, I mean, it's just how we used to create songs, how we used to create music. And it was fun. And, it was fun back then. It's fun now. In fact, it was, I wish, my brother could be here now, because I would love to jam with him and love to have him, I'd love to get his opinion on some of this stuff. And, it's just what we used to do.
Yeah. Do you think that those tapes will ever see the light of day, ever, like, just release them? Because let me just say, as ravenous as Prince fans are,
Mm-hmm.
I know right now with the current situation that the estate's in now, I would love to know your input on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way these kind of estates run now, I know that there's a lot of fans that really want some of this content, like these rehearsal sessions, like these sound checks, and things like that. And it's really it's a big draw.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that there would actually be some value to kind of drop in some of these jam clips? I mean, there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing. It's you, so it's not like that you couldn't release it, and also build up a pretty big social media following if they knew that they could get like a little bit of dose of those days and kind of looking back, because those are cherished. Everything that man did and that you guys did together as a group is cherished. I mean, if Chlorine Bacon Skin can be as revered as it is, certainly the jam sessions that you guys used to do in the early days would hold some serious weight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it would make sense at some point. Absolutely. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I think people would appreciate it, because at the end of the day, it's really kind of, yeah, I think people would appreciate those songs, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I think people would appreciate those songs because they're really fun songs, and they're very rough. I mean, because some of them are cassette to cassette. They sound, scratchy and edgy, but you can hear what they are. The demo tapes are a different thing, because they sound, more produced. I mean, the first demo.
There's a huge market for it. I know that what did Matt Fink, Dr. Fink, sold just like a handful of cassettes, like 6 cassettes or something like that. I don't remember exactly what was on them, for a pretty hefty amount of money on an auction site. So it's just like, so there's value, there is demand for it for sure. But let's talk about the resurrection of funk. August, man. I literally, I swear to God, I cannot wait for you guys to hear this album. It is so friggin' good. Tell people a little bit about well, let's start off about this character, or this narrator for this album that kind of makes an appearance a few times. Tell me a little bit about this character, who he is, tell me a little bit about OGDRE.
Yeah, he's we call him the Funk Forecaster. He basically is going to guide you through this project, through this album. He sets it up, and he tells you, basically, that he's predicting slippery weather. And he, like you said, hold on to your cakes and your snakes, because but yeah, he sets it up, and it's a fun kind of anecdote to the record, and then he makes a few appearances, and kind of introduces a couple of tracks, and that's basically it. I mean, because again, like I said, it's we're just trying to have fun. We're kind of taking a page out of sort of the inspiration from from Funkadelic, from Bootsy, from Sly, from all the bands we, I grew up listening to when I was a teenager. And I just really want to pay homage to them, homage to sort of our original creative Minneapolis sound, because it's kind of, it had kind of gotten a little bit lost. So I want to really kind of re-energize it and bring it back.
Yeah.
So paying homage to all of that, and he pays a lot of homage to it. And, it's like there's, like you said, do I have a vote? I have so much music. In fact,
I bet you
I
do.
have to very, very often, Catherine will hear me just jamming on something. She'll come in and she'll say, whoa, wait a minute. What is that? What you got to do something with that. And I'm just messing around because I'm just, just jamming. And she'll say, you got to put that on, And so now we got a volume 2, a volume 3, we got Sexy Resurrection. And so we got a lot of resurrection coming on. I do a lot of, because I'm really into Stevie Wonder. And she's like, you got to do like all of that Stevie type stuff. Because I do a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff. And I say, I'm always, no, I'm not going to. She's, no, you got to do something. I'm like, yeah, but it's not, people don't want to. She's, no, people would like to hear that. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
if you say so, but I've always been, Prince was like that too. He would listen to stuff. He said, where did you get that from? What are you going to do with that? And I'm like, I don't know. Man, you should do something with it. So it's really not all that different. I'm always creating different kind of stuff. Been playing a lot of piano, so I do a lot of classical stuff. So I'm just doing a lot of different ideas,
Yeah, and it's obvious because when you look at your discography, no two albums are the same. Like in your entire mix, it's like because it's just the breadth of your talent and your ability to kind of chameleon into those different genres is just just like a flip of the switch, just like it was for Prince. I mean, you guys came up in that same type of environment. It's like you
Yeah.
can shift from one to the other. Everybody always kind of tries to label Prince as R&B or label him as funk. It's like
Where'd you
you
go?
can't even label him as funk because even 1999 was probably his funkiest album, but anything outside of that, he was all over the map on all of his albums.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're breaking up a
Oh,
little
I'm
bit.
breaking up.
Yeah,
I think you may be breaking up
you
a little
there?
bit. You were a
There
little
you go.
bit for a minute, so maybe a connection thing.
Yeah. So what was you saying? Labeling. You were talking about labeling.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just the ability to kind of just be able to morph from one genre to the other, and the same thing. You and Prince both did it. There was you couldn't label you a specific genre because you're just all over the place with just all your different styles of music. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it again, a lot of people probably, I'm coming to realize now that that people don't know that we played in our band Grand Central,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously we played a lot of different kinds of music, and it wasn't like it wasn't my band, it wasn't Prince's band, it wasn't anybody's band, it was our band. So
Yeah.
we all came up with stuff like it was kind of all of us coming up with what we should play. And then when Morris came in and he kind of brought his flavor in, which was kind of Tower Power. So, it was an interesting thing to bring in all these different, kind of musical perspectives into a band, because, William, our percussionist, was really into, kind of funk, and, we had our Earth, Wind and Fire kind of vibe that we had, and we had,
Right.
Prince came in with a lot of rock and, Grand Funk Railroad, and obviously
Right.
I had, a lot of Stevie Wonder, a lot of funk, because, came from a big family. So my family's record collection played a very huge part in a lot of the music we played because we had an abundance of, music to draw from. So it really kind of, I think that really helped us, our creative palette kind of grow, and really we had a lot of critics living under one roof. So if you were playing something and they didn't think it was quite, you quite nailed it, they'd let you know. And so you'd have to go back to the drawing board and then you come back and they let you know that's not it yet. And then you'd have to go back and they say still not it yet. And then you have to go back and they say it's almost it. And then there it is, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot of that happened. But it was fun, you know. I mean, you know, we never took it personal because we knew we were growing, but I think that had a lot to do with why it's so such a broad musical palette. And you know, I think I got a little harder than Prince because, you know, they were a little nicer to him than they were to me, because I was the little brother. And the crazy thing about me is because a lot of people don't know. I was a little bit rough around the edges, so and my family couldn't really buy me stuff, like musical equipment type things. So I had to, you know, kind of liberate it from other places, and and you know, and then I had to hide it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, liberation. Yeah,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah, you know. But
Yeah, I hear you.
I had to hide stuff. So you know, I think my family thought I was like, you know, they thought I was just a weirdo. They didn't know that because I couldn't let her. It's like because the first thing my mom would say, "Where'd you get that from?" So to avoid all of that, I don't have any. That's not my bass. Those aren't my amplifiers. I don't know where they came from. They just fell. Somebody let me use them. I'm borrowing them, you know. And so I would have to make stuff up until, you know,
Yeah.
till it became a problem, which it usually did. That's why half the time, you know, Prince, he was a little bit apprehensive about playing guitars and things that I had around because he's like, now nobody's gonna come on stage and ask me for this. They're not gonna demand that guitar. I said, I don't think so. They might not. I don't think. I think I got away scot free on that one. You're good for about 3 days.
Did you ever get caught? I mean, did you ever get caught by the person who owned the coin? Never.
Once, yeah.
What?
Yeah, once. Yeah, it was kind of a big deal, but we don't want to get into that. So
Okay. I
it
mean,
was it was it was
I'm
it
just
was,
curious.
yeah, it was kind of, you know,
That's an impressive track record because in a town like Minneapolis, I would imagine when you play a certain style of music and it seems like you'd have got caught more often. So you're
oh,
slick.
yeah, I was pretty slick. You know, I mean, my brothers, I had some pretty serious brothers, and it wasn't like anybody was ever going to mess with me personally. But my mom was more who I had to watch out for. And then, you know, obviously it became, you know, a problem for, for Prince and for people around me because, you know, I had a little bit of a reputation. So,
Right.
yeah. And, you know, people wanted their kids, you know, to get a good education and to, you know, follow that good golden rule and path and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't really conducive to that kind of reality. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, you know, I mean, you
No,
know,
I completely understand because that's exactly how I was too. It's just and then
yeah,
as you get older, you're like, okay, you
yeah,
start
no, I mean,
start to level out.
yeah, I have to really give Prince a lot of credit for sort of getting me, you know, keeping me from, you know, from going too far, you know, off the crazy edge. But, you know, the beautiful part, you know, I mean, everything happens for a reason because, you know, yeah, I was a knucklehead. Yeah, I was, you know, all the different things that, you know, kind of made things a little bit edgy. But, you know, because I was a knucklehead, I stumbled across a lot of really interesting things because, you know, I had to go to this school that was, you know, kind of for, you know, didn't really, you know, take school all that serious. But the beautiful thing is, it just happened to be by a studio, and that studio is where, you know, I discovered, you know, that, you know, we wound up cutting one of our demos. Um, and you know, the demo that we cut just happened to be Chris Moon's studio, and the
Mm.
rest, if you know the history, is history.
Soft and Wet, or was that was actually his song? I mean, he was involved in the writing of that one. What was it? What specific song was it?
Chris Moon, yeah, Soft and Wet, but it was done in
What,
the studio that I stumbled across when I
gotcha.
was, yeah. I'm gonna have to check something real quick because I don't want my phone to die, and it
Okay.
looks like
Yeah.
it. Let me turn it because the last time I did this, it got really weird. So let me hope that it doesn't get weird again. Okay, we good?
Yeah, let it let it level out for a second. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, because then it's
And
charging
yeah, I
now.
think last time you did it, something happened with the audio. It just started being really clicky. So,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
so,
looks
yeah,
like
we'll
it
see.
works.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, so actually, somebody had asked you a question. Anthony Richardson 4159 asked, "Will you ever release your original version of "Do Me Baby"?"
You know, I'd have to get it from, well, yeah, it's got a couple of things because I originally wrote that song for a girl, and I gave her a copy of it, and that's where the original version is. Because back then I never really thought about um, posterity.
Published.
Yeah, um, and which is why I really kind of, that's what made me realize it was a song that I had written originally, because when he put it out, and she was like, that's your song. She went through this whole thing, and I just never thought about that, because I just the thing about Prince and I, when would record, and I think a lot of musicians could probably understand this, is that when you don't have a whole lot of money, you know, cassettes can seem kind of expensive, you know.
Yeah,
And
they
so,
are. Yeah.
and it's not like now, now you have your cell phone, so you can drop ideas on your cell phone until the cows come home. So, but back then, you would have to ask, hey man, you got any space on any of your cassettes? Because I got this idea and I don't want to lose it. So I wound up, we'd cut a lot of things on different cassettes and all that kind of stuff. But there's a couple of things, and I think the other thing is Pepe has the original, because I originally cut it for Little Anthony Imperials. I cut that, and Prince cut "Feel for You," and we, that's what those two songs were for. And they didn't really want either one of those. They wanted to do something more disco-y, and
Wow.
so I actually, literally, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about the song, to be honest with you, and I didn't hear it again until it came out, and I was like, oh wow, cool, you know.
So I know that there was a lot of feedback about that, and it may have been something that you had talked about before. You seem to be frozen up video wise. Hopefully, you can still hear me. Can you still hear me? He broke up. He's frozen. Andre, if you can hear me, you're frozen. And all right, let's wait for him to get his video back. If you guys do have any questions, go ahead and get them out, because I'm going to talk a little bit to him about when he gets back and he gets reconnected here. I want to talk about his brand new album called The Resurrection of Funk that's coming out. Yeah, he just dropped off. Wait,
There you go.
there you are. You're back. All right.
Yeah, cool.
So there was a little bit of a debate that I had heard previously regarding "Do Me Baby," and you may have already mentioned this before, but you said something that kind of added a different nuance to it. Was that when people found out that "Do Me Baby" was your song, they kind of blamed Prince for doing yet again something in that similar fashion. But you mentioned today, taking somebody's song and kind of fleshing it out and making it their own. But you said today that that was something that you guys did on a regular basis, though, was that whoever finished it, it ended up pretty much being their song. But how
Yeah,
complete was it before he got it?
it was like, all I obviously the music, because when
Right.
I wrote music, but there was some lines in it that I had on my original, because those are the connection to the girlfriend and all of that. Um, yeah, so the "Ooh, What You
Yeah.
Do, Never Love No Other" and all of that was part of the original. But I mean, literally, I mean, 90% of the lyrics he wrote, and so I just, it's hard for me to take credit for stuff like that when it comes from when you're that close to somebody, and I just you know didn't really make a big deal. Other people made more of a big deal out of it than I did, and that's a lot of people wonder, well, how come you didn't do? I said, because you know what, I mean, you know it when you're that close, I just
Yeah.
wasn't, you know, and we
Yeah.
had written a lot of, people have no idea. One of these days, people will have to understand how many songs we wrote together, and just a lot of people don't know how close we really were. It's not like, you know, um, uh, in a lot of people's cases, he was their boss, I guess, because he was, you know, he hired them. He didn't hire me, you know. And we were in a band, and I mean, really, literally, in our band, was it 5 people? And most of the people in the band are people that I put in the band. So I was pretty much kind of the leader of the band.
You know,
So
and I think, and that's another good point that you make, because I think, you know, you don't get the I don't feel like you get the true respect that you deserve in a lot of different situations, because I know you get in that situation where you get overshadowed by Prince, who was phenomenal. There will never ever be another
no,
musician like this guy, ever, ever, ever.
yeah,
But when people look into your work and the things that you've done, I mean, I just saw this, you posted on the website, you and Jody Wiley celebrating the 35th anniversary of that, looking for a new love. I mean, that's just unreal to me, how you were involved in so much of her success. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've got those vinyls over here. I mean, I I just, people need to dig into your resume to really get a full grasp of the things that you were involved in, and really kind of be able to appreciate you as the strong songwriter that you are. And I'm so glad that the Resurrection of Funk is coming out, because I think that this really will give people a good idea of the strength of your songwriting skills, because this new album is great front to back. There is no weak song on this album, and I don't say this with hyperbole. It is phenomenal, dude. It's phenomenal. It's really, really good.
yeah, that, you know, I mean, like I said, I just wanted to go back to what I used to do, because I just haven't done it for myself. And I love doing stuff like this. I love funk music, period. And I have so much of it. I mean, you know, I mean, if you love this and I appreciate it, wait till you hear volume 2.
Oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait.
So
I can't wait.
so sick that, you know, but you know, I'm going to see how people, you know, respond to the funk. And if they're really responding to it, then then it's like, and then we're going to bring the funk show, you know, because there's a song called Funk Dance Show that's not on this album. It may be on volume 2. I may just make it a thing where if because this, you know, like I said, you know, there's another character we created called Boombox Dre. And Boombox Dre has been kind of roaming the city looking to turn people on to funk. So what he does is he goes with his boombox and he looks for people that look like they, you know, they need to know what funk is. And he plays a track that ain't nobody here. It's not on this album. It's just funk, just pure, uncut, raw funk. And he plays it. And he looks at him. He says, "What do you know about funk?" And they look like, you know, and then it's like, you know, they go, "But wait a minute, I feel myself dancing. Oh shit. Oh." Next thing you know, they're indoctrinated. It's like they're going and they're coming with me to the
Right.
funk. So yeah. So but that's,
Well, this just goes to show just of um how much of a nod you give to Parliament Funkadelic, and you know, their whole creation of the, you know, the funk universe, and kind of, you know, bringing that, I guess, is part of the foundation, is to kind of establish characters. You know,
yeah.
Bootsy Collins is a prime example of that, and just kind of creating this whole vibe. And matter of fact, there's a few nods to Parliament Funkadelic on this album. The Resurrection has got the yada da dee da from Flashlight.
Yep.
You had The Girl Next Door had George Clinton's Atomic Dog. You know,
Yep.
bow wow wow yippee oh yippee. And I mean, it's just you have like a lot of different nods on here. I was trying to think what other nod did you get? Oh, there was The Funk is Alive.
Funk is alive. Yeah.
Yeah, for One Nation Under a Groove. You had The Ears Your Chance to Dance Your Way. There's just a lot of different nods here. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank you for the nod to Gil Scott-Heron for the Revolution's Anyo Internet.
Yeah.
So is there what are some other nods on this album that you give some people? I know that Prince is on there too. I think there was Show Me Love. I think there was a nod. You mentioned Purple Rain in there. But yeah, I've listened to this album a few times already, and it's just so strong, dude. But is there any other nods that people should look out for?
Let's see. You know, Bootsy. You know, I mean, because you know, every time I think of Turn It Up, I think of Bootsy, because it's like, you know, when I go into a Bootsy zone, it's really,
he there's a feel that he has, and it's not licks or anything like that. It's just a feel. And a lot of people, it's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, it's easy for me because I just, I've been doing this for a minute, and I get it. I mean, because the thing about me and bass playing, when it comes to bass playing, is that you know, when you get into like a style of somebody like Bootsy or you know, God, let's see who else. I mean, there's just so many funky bass players. Rusty Allen is one of my favorite bass players, but or Sly, some of the stuff that Larry Graham did. You have to think in terms of not a bass player, but almost like a horn player. And one of the things, I guess, the other thing that I used to do, and I still do, probably now more than I ever did, is before beatboxing was kind of was kind of a thing. I used to kind of, that's how I would come up with grooves, like, that kind of thing, like. So I would come up, with all this kind of stuff, and that's how I would come up with a groove. And I would hear it, and then I would go, oh yeah. Then I would record it, and it would be a whole vibe. And so yeah.
Yeah, your bass playing is killer. I mean, Love Revolution, that bass line in Love Revolution is ridiculous. It's just
yeah.
I mean, you got so many great standouts here. I want to dig in just for a second here because there's a couple questions I see in the hopper that may align with this track on your album called the album is called The Resurrection of Funk. It comes out August 14th. I've already seen a couple of questions for that. If you want to purchase it, just head to andrecymone.com. You'll be able to find the links there. I've also set up a quick link at funkatopia.com/Andre. That's funkatopia.com/Andre. And that will take you directly to his Bandcamp page where you can pick it up. But the song on here that has been released as one of the singles, The Revolutions on Your Internet.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about this because I'm really curious what your take is on. Well, let's go ahead and let me grab one of these questions here because I want to kind of tap into you a little bit about the Spotify versus Bandcamp. Mm-hmm. Angle, but somebody had asked, and I was trying to remember who mentioned that. The Electric Vibe. They said, Andre, what is your take on generative AI content and AI generated music? So I think this kind of ties into a little bit of what you're talking about.
It really does. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of AI, not at all. In fact, on one of the songs that Boombox Stray drops is, he's back in the backyard barbecuing. But he does the Summer of Funk, and he's talking about his AI free zone, because that's what it is. And it's like because I think obviously AI is a crutch. I mean, if you have to go to AI and start making your music, using some, it's like you're not creating.
Frozen up. He's frozen for a second. I'll try to remember where he left off. Again, if you have questions, go ahead and get them in because I want to start to get some of your questions in for him. He's obviously having another connection issue here for a second. So once he comes back, I will continue asking him your questions that you have in the chat room. I'm starring them and putting them to the side. Right now, we're in the middle of talking about AI generated music, and he's in the middle of answering that. And obviously, he's not a fan of that. And I was talking about AI earlier today that I'm utilizing it for website development. Oh, Andre's dropped off on one and he's come back through another. Hold on a second.
All right. There we go.
There you are. Okay, there you are.
All right.
All right. So you don't feel like AI is really, I mean, you were saying basically if you were using AI, it's not really creation. It's like I don't know exactly where you were going, but.
Well, it's like, I mean, like for me, it's like when I want to come up with a song,
I just pick up a guitar or a bass or or drums or whatever, and I come up with a song, or play on keys or whatever. I can't imagine going and pulling out, already created musical things. I mean, look, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. I'm not, to each his own. But if you're asking my opinion, I think the art is creating something from nothing,
Mhm.
and for me, I mean, it's just what's the point in being talented or having a gift if you're not creating something that's, from from the gift. A lot of it, I think a lot of the things that I create, I don't even know if I can take credit for it because a lot of it just comes channeling through. But yeah, no, AI is a different thing because I mean, again, with AI, if you play, because it gets a little deeper than just music,
Right.
because if you play AI out to its likely conclusion, we're all going to be, out of a job, because the goal of AI is to make somebody's life easier, by making somebody um useless, and that's not cool. I mean, and I think anybody who's in a creative space should be like, I want my artists to create their own stuff. I don't want them to create something that, like if I did what AI is doing, I'd be underneath the jail because it's plagiarism. If I, because what happens with AI is that it can take whatever anybody puts. If you use AI, you're giving them your whatever your intellectual property. If you're writing something, AI is taking what you're writing and putting it in its engine, and then that engine gets fed to whoever goes on a whoever uses AI. People don't understand that. And if it's musical, it's your musical ideas that get fed into this AI stream. And then now, Andre's music goes into AI, and then AI uses it. It's happy. It's like, hey, now I got some fresh new music to sort of plagiarize. And so now somebody who couldn't do what I do before can now do it because they can go into AI. And because it's called AI, which is new, and it's like, hey, and everybody can say, I didn't do it, AI did it. And so nobody gets credit for stealing your stuff because it's called AI. And who's going to sue AI? You can't sue AI. AI is just this atmospheric thing. No, it's not. Somebody owns AI.
Yeah.
It's funny how they do this whole song and dance thing, and the next thing you
Yep.
know, the music industry has been purchased. So now artists have to do a whole different thing to sort of get their music to the public, which is fine because the thing for somebody like me, I'm lucky, because I'm blessed because I can create music of my own. I don't need any of that kind of stuff. But for people, who are, that aren't me, who are just trying to start off in the music business, who are talented, maybe just as talented, if not more talented than me, you know, they have to go through this whole different process. And there's no longer A&R, there's no longer this process that got me and Prince and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the people from Minneapolis, into the game. That system doesn't exist anymore. There'll never be another. You can say that now because AI is making sure there'll never be another, Prince or Hendrix or me or anybody like that, because people always say, but that he did that with AI, or she did that with AI. She didn't sing that. She sang that with AI. He didn't come up with those chords. AI came up with those chords. So and so didn't do that because AI did that. And so the next thing so it's like, wait a minute, it's like, is that what you want? You want that doubt to be in your music, to be in your art? To people always say, well, yeah, and we give this Grammy award to AI. It's like, I mean, come on,
I
and the
got it.
song of the year is AI, and the artist of the year, and the best new artist of the year is AI. I mean, come on, really? I mean, I just don't get it. I'm like, but you know what? What I do get is that um and my kids kind of give me a hard time because I say what we're living in is a time of almost the revenge of the nerds. Where if somebody couldn't necessarily play football or basketball, and they had to find a way to mommy, I can't, then you got to come up with something different. And they came up with computer games, and they're winning. They won a lot of
Yeah.
money, and they just figured out, now that I've won, now I can buy those industries. Those guys that used to be the rock stars going around with all the girls and all that. Well, you know, who's the rock star now? You know, all they had to do was create that dating app, and you know, and they go on the dating app and they show all their stuff. And anyway, it's a whole nother thing. But you know,
Mhm.
bottom line is, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, and I love art. I love to paint, I love to draw, I love to make music. I love to tell stories. I love to share my life experience. I look at music from the perspective, you know, of minstrels who, in my opinion, were the first first newscasters, first information deliverers. You know, because they went from village to village, telling people of what different villages were. That was what touring actually was all about. That's how touring started. They would go and people would pay them with food and you know and drink and wine and all that, and you know, and so they would go from village, and that's you know, and that was a beautiful thing, you know. And from that came what we know now as you know musicians. You know, the Rolling Stones or the Beatles were just a different version of that. We in our band when we performed, we were just a different version. James Brown, Rick James, whatever, you know, Bootsy, Funkadelic. It was just bands playing, going from place to place, learning from each place that they went, from the people that they talked to, people that they partied with, people that they interacted with. And that's how their stories came about. That's how they were able to collect and cobble together different experiences. And they put those experiences to music. And that's the art. And so the idea of AI, where's AI going to travel to? It's going to
Right.
travel to the minds of, you know, other people, and they're not going to get compensated for it. AI is, whoever owns AI, which believe me, there's people owning AI and they're collecting. That's why
Yeah.
it's blowing up on the stock market. But anyway, that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, well, they had, I had actually seen a video. I'll have to text it to you later, but I found this video of some guy that had written some songs for Madonna. And there is this system now where you can put in songs that you wrote into the system, and it will actually go out and tell you what pieces or how many times that your song was accessed by AI, or that AI pulled pieces from it and utilized it. And it's like, well,
Yeah,
if you got a machine that can do that, then maybe we can start talking about, how these musicians and artists get compensated for what you're taking. So I think, um, you know, I think there may be a road to redemption for musicians in regards to AI, but I still
yeah,
think we're ways down the road, because then
yeah,
there's proving what's what. But to
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
tie into that, Spotify versus Bandcamp. I know this album is going to be released on August 14th on Bandcamp. Again, funkatopia.com/Andre, or you can go to andrecymone.com, and you can you can get to the Bandcamp area and pre-order this album, because it's great. It's really, really good. But you doing it on Bandcamp, is there going to be? I know there's also questions about the digital. Is it going to be available in physical form, like vinyl or CD, or any other way other than digital? That's a quick question.
See, that's Spotify.
Yeah, yeah,
Spotify.
yeah, and you're still choppy a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
yeah, I
um,
can hear you, but you're just a little choppy.
um, but yeah, no, it's I really like Bandcamp because they're really artist friendly. They allow you to sort of put it up there. People can pay whatever they want. And, it's just and it's fair. It's like because I mean, really, if you think about it, this should be the best time for artists to be able to really kind of share their art with people who can appreciate it. But unfortunately, the platforms, are getting it, and they're just not making it fair. They're not making it's just not even fair. You can't even, I mean, like somebody like me, I should be able to do a full blown tour, where I have, the band that can represent it as well as it needs to be represented, and I would love to do shows like that because, but, and I think I'll be able to work my way up to that because, that's the goal. But because of these platforms, artists like myself have to go at the business in a very different organic way. So we really need people to support us. That's why I really appreciate you and what you're doing, and the fact that you're really kind of helping us promote it, because this is how this is how artists like myself are going to be able to stand in front of you and perform these songs, and for you to be able to get them on wax and on CD, on any kind of way that you want them, is like this. And it and for us to be fairly compensated, because the idea that somebody, and it would be different if it were like a company, and just individuals with a little platform that figured out, oh, I can have this platform and everybody will do this, and I can buy the music industry and everybody has to come to me to get their music, heard. And then they're on a yacht somewhere on your dime,
Yeah.
and people don't realize that, they're subscribing, but they're taking the money away from artists, and artists are just, it's like one of the songs on the album is called Rockstar. And it's like,
Very unusual song, by the way. I was going to ask you about that one because that one is a standout track on the
Mhm.
album because it's very, very. It's still funky, but it's very different. It's a little bit of I don't know how to explain it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I'm taking a page out of, again, because I love playing bass. I became a bass player, and one of my favorite bass players is Rusty Allen. So it's like I'm doing a little Rusty Allen thumping on that one. But it's called rock and roll, but it's still funky. But it's anyway, it's about about a rock star who basically you know has this rock star persona and a rock star following, but he's living out of his car. you know and he's
Yeah.
got a day job, and he's got a night job. And yeah, he goes to these shows and people give him all this adulation and all this love and all that, and he leaves. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, good night. Yeah, and then he goes and he gets in his car and he's got to sleep in it by the park, and then he's got to go to his
He's like
job.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's very real right now. Because Rockstar, are you fronting? Show me something. Those are the lyrics, because it's and it's, again, a lot of times I'm talking about something that's always has something to do with what's really going on. But it's fun. I mean, and I just I like to get with people and get people onto a musical representation that goes beneath the surface. Because that's part of the whole thing. Yeah, that's part of the art of making music.
All right, we'll close up with a few questions. Again, it's been great to have you here, Andre Cymone. I got some audience questions here before I cut you loose. You want to pick up this album, go to funkatopia.com/Andre. It comes out on August 14th, a mere 10 days from right now. You need to pre-order this album. I'm telling you, you will love it. It's unbelievable. I kind of feel like funk has always been your sweet spot, and it really shows that how comfortable you are in
Mhm.
this specific genre.
Yeah,
Rock,
yeah.
you've always been great at rock. You always have that great delivery, and I don't know if I really got a solid answer because you were also breaking up in that period when you were answering this. Is there going to be, how much of a delay will there be? Because your other albums are on Spotify.
Mhm.
So how long will it exist on Bandcamp, or Spotify listeners going to have to wait before they can hear this album?
You know, that's a good question. Because the thing is, I mean, fans, are into what fans are into, and I'm not mad at that. It's just I would love them
Right.
to be able to, to understand it from an artist's perspective. Because I just want people to hear the music. To be honest with you, I mean, I would give the music for free. To be honest with you, but the idea of somebody else just making the lion's share of, it's
Right.
like I'm making music for somebody else to benefit from
Right.
financially is an interesting concept to me, because it's like, it really is exploitation. But the fans, they're subscribing to this platform, and I get that. And so it probably won't be long. So we'll figure out what makes sense, and what's fair, what seems fair. And I think the fans understand where I'm coming from. They've
I
let
would
me
say
know
at
that
least, I think I've heard Taylor Swift used to do a month,
oh, really?
is just because she
Yeah.
wanted people to actually buy the album, or get
Yeah.
it from a source where she was actually going to make money on it. Not that she has any
Yeah.
problem with money,
Yeah.
But I'm saying this is like it's just she's got that smart music marketing mentality where it's like, you know, make people buy it if they really, really want it. Because if they have an
Yeah.
option to simply click and listen to it without
They're going to
incurring
click.
any cost outside of what they pay for Spotify, it's such a disservice to the artist and the amount of time and work and just
Yeah.
commitment that it takes to create something like that. I always push for physical copies or doing something like Bandcamp where you're going to get the lion's share of it, deservedly so, because you were the writer of that material. So I would like to see a little bit of a delay. It's your call, but I would
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree, because I mean, like anything else, if it's too easy, you don't appreciate it. So
right,
it's like, you want people to be able to, for it to hear about it, to go, oh, I want to hear. Well, go to Bandcamp. It'll be on Spotify eventually, but by the time it's on there, everybody will be telling you about it. But if you really want to hear it early, if you really like this artist, and if you want to see this artist come to your state or your city and perform it, support
right,
them by purchasing it on Bandcamp. Because
right,
then they can afford to put together a band, they can afford to travel to your city, they can afford to pay the band, they can afford to stay at a hotel or something and pay per diem and eat, and they can
right,
perform. And then I mean, that's how it works. It's if you give, what is it, Daniel Ek, all the money, it's like he's eating on a yacht somewhere.
Sam
you
Altman or
know
whatever that guy's name
Sam
is.
Altman, yeah, I mean, they're eating on yachts and stuff. We're just trying to create music that can be the soundtrack of your life, that you can have fun and make your life a little bit more joyful.
Right.
So that's what it's all about.
And speaking of which, we had a couple tour questions. Eric Wright asked, hello, Andre, are you going to tour or play some gigs, including Minneapolis, hopefully? If so, any timeline? And then there was a follow-up to that one. I think somebody was asking about LA. I will find it. Oh, yeah. Tanya asked, would you be performing the new album at So Cool venues in LA? She may have meant SoCal venues, but
Yeah, no, we're definitely doing a gig in Minneapolis. We're definitely doing a couple of gigs in LA. And we want to spread it out all over. We're talking about some places in the Bay Area. We're talking about some places in Tucson. Talking to some places obviously in New York, Chicago.
ATL.
Yeah. We're gonna do some gigs. So but we're just, first thing we got to do is raise some money so we can pay some folks and put together the right kind of show. 'Cause I really, funk show, it's gonna be fun. It's like it's gonna be like how it used to be on steroids. 'Cause trust me, it's gonna be, and it ain't gonna be none of that generic stuff. It's gonna be the real, and it's gonna be fun. So you're gonna leave there and you're gonna want to come back, and you're gonna want to know why you haven't been doing it as Andre from day one. And I'm gonna say, because I'm doing it now. Okay, so yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Electric Vibe mentions that Amazon Music has it ready to upload. Well, I think Amazon Music. I don't know what that means. I don't do Amazon Music. Is it? I'm assuming it's similar to Spotify, but if you're talking about Amazon Music, sometimes has an album purchasing capability, and maybe I don't know. I'm not exactly sure some of the nuances of some of these things, but man, let me just say, it's always really, really cool to have you
Mhm.
here, Andre. I do want to talk to you offline because I think we're symbiotic in nature. In that, I don't know if you heard me talking before you came on while you were sitting in the green room. That right now I'm putting it together a site for local musicians and artists, not just local musicians, but just artists in general and musicians
Mhm.
to be able to promote their events and promote their concerts and
Oh, that's
find out the
awesome.
resources in each one of the cities that they're planning to tour to, so they can, like, if you're going to if you're coming to Atlanta, be able to tell you all the different radio stations that actually play local music and the
Yeah.
periodicals and
Oh,
stuff that you can actually get to. Yeah,
that's
it's
priceless.
just
Yeah.
massive
Yeah.
resource for local musicians that we're in the process of building, and it should be done by the end of August. But I would love for you to be involved and kind of give your input and
I would
because
love to. That's price. That's what we have to start thinking outside the box,
yeah,
as
absolutely.
artists, and because this is our gig, this is what we do, and if we want it to be around, and we do, then we have to do what we have to do to make sure that it stays around. So we have to do just what you're talking about. So count me in. I mean,
Okay.
I'm involved in a few things right now that are really kind of grassroots, really giving back to communities, really helping young people. Really addressing a lot of disparities in communities, and that's always been my thing. And so I'm talking to a lot of different people, so I'm happy to do stuff like that. I'm happy. Just
All right.
call me anytime, and I'm a soldier. So yeah, count me
Yeah,
in.
once we get it done, I'm going to open up a focus group to just some select people and kind of walk through the site and just kind of see what changes and what things we can do and make sure there's
Mm.
going to be everything that I'm envisioning for it, which I've been pushing for, just independent musicians forever. And I think of all the people that have crossed my path over the years, like John Mayer and the
Yeah,
Zach Brown Band and all these guys that, from my area of the world that has been through the doorways of sites and stuff that I've done before. So it just needs to be next level. It needs to be next
yeah,
level. And so, yeah, I'll be in
exactly.
touch.
Yeah. All right.
Let me just say again, it's an honor to have you here, Andre. Go to funkatopia.com/Andre. That will take you right to the Bandcamp page so you can purchase the album, or you can go to andrecymone.com. There's some really, really cool video clips. Follow him on Instagram too. It was so funny to see you up on stage dancing with Morris Day, and he didn't even
Oh,
recognize that you were back there.
he didn't. He turned around. He's like, "Wait a minute." Yeah, that was classic. Yeah, that's priceless because it was
Oh
like he
my
didn't know I
God.
was. Yeah, we that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Yeah, a lot of people don't really know how we go back. Morris will be the first one to tell you. I brought Morris into this whole thing. And it was just great to see him. It was great to see him. It's great to see his brother. It's great to see their kids. I mean, we go back. I'm his daughter's godfather.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have no. People just don't know because I'm a little bit of a weirdo, I guess. I can admit that. I'm a little,
It's all good.
I'm an artist. What can I say? I'm an artist.
Yeah,
I
you are.
just,
It's fine. It's all good.
yeah, I'm not caught up on the things that I guess some people get caught up on. I mean, the money thing is always great, but that's not what drives me. It's art, and people, and that's really kind of art and people. And
Yeah. Well, you're still breaking up a little bit, but that's okay because it's the end of the night. It's perfectly fine. Please head to andrecymone.com and pick up that album, The Resurrection of Funk. It drops August 14th. It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary, iconic OG from the Minneapolis Sound right there, the one and only Andre Cymone. Thank you,
all
brother.
right, thank
I'll be
you.
in
All
touch. I'll
right,
give you a call.
all right, cool. All right,
All
take
right,
care.
Andre. Thank you,
All
man.
right.
I know that you guys had. I know you guys had a bunch more questions and stuff. Some of the stuff that he had kind of addressed a little bit before, and that he has also addressed in previous interviews as well too. But I didn't want him to have to struggle through the connection issues that he was having to answer some of your questions, and so it's fine. He'll be back. And one of the things that I was talking about earlier, just kind of not only wanting to kind of shift gears as far as Funkatopia is concerned, to kind of make it so that we're really focusing on some of these new acts and some of these new artists that are out there from all walks of life, from all styles of music. I've got a big project that's going to be dropping before in the fall, but the website itself should be done in at the end of August. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys stay tuned. Please make sure that you join at patreon.com/Funkatopia, because it is a very, very difficult undertaking for everything that happens here and on the radio station, and some of the stuff that I'm trying to do to kind of make sure that we leave a mark, and that Prince fans leave a mark in general. And just, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like I'm starting to get burnt out on a lot of things. I think that you are too, not with the new music and stuff that's going out there. I'm really excited. I mean, the stuff that I'm seeing out there right now musically from a lot of artists like Andre Cymone, like the psychedelics, uh like Anderson Paak, and I'm just really enjoying myself seeing some of this new music, and it is amazing in contrast to what we're kind of dealing with right now with some of the output from the Prince world. And I know we've got a brand new album coming out, and Timeless, hitting August 28th. I think the date is. Super excited about that. Obviously, super excited about that. But I just feel like anybody outside of the circle, outside of our Prince bubble, has no idea this album is coming. I just don't feel like there's enough oomph. There's not enough marketing push behind it. It just seems like there's nothing going on, and all that's being focused on is just extracting more money from the existing Prince fans, by new merch and whatnot. Not that I don't expect new merch. I get it. I expect new merch, but I thought we were on the same page, that we wanted to move Prince group. Our Prince bubble is aging out. We're aging out. We have to be able to make sure that we have an impact on these future generations that are happening beyond us. And it just seems like all the marketing and all the efforts is just focused on us, which is great because we certainly are the demand for what you're supplying. However, we need to expand beyond who we are. And I don't think that's happening at all from a marketing perspective. I think everything has been geared just towards our little bubble, and the situation with Lin-Manuel Miranda now being tied to the Prince Purple Rain Broadway musical is huge news, and we're not talking about it. I mean, we're talking about it, but like none of the official Prince channels or anything are making mention or discussing it at all. It's massive. This is the person who wrote Hamilton. This is big. This actually means that this musical has got a shot to go to the next level. Local bands, unsputtered local artists and regional artists, and many big bands have come through it and utilized its mark, and it was free. I wasn't making money doing it, but I wanted to figure out a way that I could do it again and be able to actually, create some type of living from it, helping artists get seen, helping them be their promoter, be their A&R, but doing it in a way that is on their schedule and based on their needs, and is going to be able to individually help each one of them no matter where they're at. And also be a good source for music fans like you and like myself can go, and we can read about music news and what's going on in the music world. And on top of that, be able to get tickets to not only the main shows that are out there, but also all these other regional artists and local artists. And it's just, I'm very passionate about it. I used to be super passionate about it, but then I shifted everything and went to funk, and I've loved it here. But the funk news is slow. I mean, pretty much all the news that I'm sharing or that have an opportunity to break for you or divulge are either anniversaries or birthdays or looking back at an anniversary of somebody's passing or announcing that somebody has passed. It's not a happy place. So I kind of feel like I just need to just move, expand a little bit, just again, back up, move on. I'll still be here. I'm still going to do what I do because I am who I am. So there's that. But you're going to see a lot more of me, but in a different way, from a different angle. Don't let any weird visions get in your head, but just know it's coming and it's going to be great. So please make sure you join patreon.com/Funkatopia, because that's going to be like ground zero for a lot of what I'm doing with this brand new website that I will share with everybody once it's available. But I just need to make sure that it's right so that it can make the impact that it needs to make. And it's good. And I'm moving much, much faster on it. And it's got my hardcore focus. And I'm in the zone on this one. So it will be coming before it will be available to you guys by the fall. You have my word. But it's just keep on keeping on. All right, I'll look. Anyways, I hope that you guys had a great time. It was that's a lot of fun. Talking with Andre. It's always good to have him on the show. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you that this brand new album, The Resurrection of Funk, is phenomenal. It is so friggin' good. And it's all funk. It's pretty much, there's 15 tracks on it. I think there's like a couple of them that are like segues and then a couple of slow songs on it. But then it's like, it's just funk straight through. So if you like funk, you like that 80s style funk, you need to check this out. And according to him, it's also going to be a part 2 that's coming out as well. So The Resurrection Part 2 or whatever the official title is. But man, hope you guys are on board. Stay tuned. As far as next Tuesday is concerned, I'm not exactly sure what is happening. Got a couple of things up in the air, but for those that don't know, Jaden, my daughter that normally comes in the room and says hello to you guys occasionally, for those OG Funkatopians that have seen her come in here, she is going off to college starting on Saturday. And I don't, so I've got a lot of things that I'm trying to finish up and do the father thing. And so I don't know if we'll be on Tuesday or not, but if one of these things that is up in the air comes to fruition, then I will definitely make myself available, because all I want to do is continue bringing you guys the funk whenever I possibly can and as regularly as I can. And that is one of the true bullet points of Funkatopia, is that I just never say die. I just keep on doing it. Just keep on doing it. Doesn't matter. Ups, downs, Facebook bans, whatever. Just keep on keeping on. That's just, it's no point in stopping now. I got too many things invested now. Anyways, good night, everyone. I hope you had a fantastic time. I know I did. Again, go to funkatopia.com/Andre, FUNKATOPIA.com/Andre, and be taken right to the Bandcamp page where you can pre-order this album. You need to hear this. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Really, really, really good. And that's not hyperbole. And what else was I going to say? Prayers up to the Rivkin family, obviously, for the passing of David Z. I'm glad that we got to speak to that a little bit today when Andre came on. So I was really, really happy that he got an opportunity to kind of speak his piece, because I know that they were close as well. So there's that. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to have a really, really good time. Oh, make sure you go to patreon.com/Funkatopia and sign up, not only to support us and kind of be front line for when we get all these news, but also so you can get into the drawing for this box set for Prince Piano and a Microphone, which is pretty awesome. And on top of that, also the Collector's 45 for Prince's Welcome to America. Brand new, sealed, not opened, not slit. I didn't open this, did I? No. Brand new, sealed, Welcome to America by Prince. And on the flip side, it's got Dreamer and Welcome to America, which is a live version, the rocked out, funked out version. That's pretty freaking awesome. And it's a collector's edition. Yeah. It doesn't matter what level you're at. If you're on Patreon, you will get entered into the drawing. Of course, the higher the level, the more entries that you have. But y'all want to win this, and you want to be front row for what we have coming up. And you also want to make sure that you get access to the radio station. Y'all know about the Funked Up radio station, right? Go to your Apple store and go to Google Play and look up Funked Up, FUNKEDUP, or you can look for Funkatopia. Download the 24/7 Funk radio station that is ASCAP licensed and global music rights licensed. So if an artist gets played, an artist gets paid. All right, y'all. I got to go. We'll have a great time next week, maybe. If not, we'll see. And Michael Bland will be back with us too. Congrats to Michael Bland. They got a great show coming tomorrow night, August 5th at Dakota in Minneapolis. It's going to be Soul Asylum doing an acoustic show there with Ivan Neville and another act. But it's happening tomorrow night, Dakota. That's where he's at right now, is rehearsal. Good night, everyone. Love you. Have a good night's sleep, and we'll talk to you soon. If you missed any part of the show, just head to Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc., and you can catch all the stuff there. I'm Mr. Christopher. This is Funkatopia Live. Thank you so much to Andre Cymone, and we'll talk to you later. Adios, amigos y amigas. WTF. Welcome to Funkatopia.